One of the major standouts of the Psychic Spectacular event is going to be none other than Medicham. This Pokemon is extremely powerful for the Great League, and there's a lot of reasons for that. That's what this video is going to be covering, so let's get right into it. Alright, how's it going everyone? It's me, it's Jinsula. I hope you're having a good day and welcome to today's Pokemon Go video. Today we're going to be putting a spotlight on the one and only Medicham. This Pokemon is currently rank 1 in the Great League, and there is a lot of good reasons for that. This Pokemon is by far one of the most powerful Great League Pokemon that's currently in Pokemon Go. And I really do think that if you have yourself a Medicham, you're going to go really far in the Go Battle League. In order to best understand this, let's first go over all of the details for this Pokemon. Medicham is a fighting and psychic type Pokemon. This gives it only 3 weaknesses, which is going to be fairy, flying, and ghost types. And it's going to have 2 resistances, which is going to be fighting types and rock type attacks. Now, it doesn't matter for PvP, but the weather boosts for Medicham include windy weather and cloudy weather. This is of course going to be important if you're trying to get XL candy for Medicham, because every Meditite is going to be boosted by these weather types, and you will want to catch them when you have these weather boosts. Now, when it comes to the base stats for Medicham, it's going to have an attack stat of 121, a defense stat of 152, and a base stamina stat of 155. Now, the nice thing is that these stats are extremely well rounded, and there's a little bit more of a lean on defense and stamina, and they are low enough where if you were to level up Medicham past level 40, you're going to get much higher levels without hitting the 1500 cap. The rank 1 IVs for Medicham is going to be 5 attack, 15 defense, and 15 stamina. If you were to ever find a Meditite with these IVs, you're pretty much going to be set for life. Next, let's talk about Medicham's move pool, because when it comes to its moves, it's actually what makes this Pokemon so powerful. It has the fast attacks Counter and Psycho Cut, and I do think that between these 2 moves, Counter is going to be the obvious choice. On top of having a same type attack bonus with its fighting type damage, it's also going to generate an insane amount of energy, so you obviously want to make sure you run with Counter. But when it comes to its charge attacks, you have plenty of options. It can come with Psychic, Ice Punch, Power Up Punch, and Dynamic Punch. Between all of these charge attacks, you can pretty much mix and match, and your Medicham is still going to be viable. The ideal moves is going to be Psychic and Ice Punch, but you could also run with Power Up Punch as well. And if you really want to throw off your opponents with a hard-hitting nuke, Dynamic Punch is going to be your best bet. Now, personally speaking, I've ran Medicham with any combination of Psychic, Ice Punch, and Power Up Punch. I found that Power Up Punch is kind of underrated because it's really good at baiting out shields for a very low energy cost, and on top of that, it also increases the attack stat of Medicham every time you use it. So I really do think it's a very powerful move if you use it correctly. If you open up with Medicham, Power Up Punch might actually be a very good option because not only is it going to put a lot of shield pressure, but it's also going to increase the attack stat of Medicham and ramp it up so that when your opponent switches out to another Pokemon, it's going to deal incredible damage. But in general, I think most players run with Psychic and Ice Punch, and both of those attacks are fine as well. The reason for that is because, of course, Psychic is going to benefit from a same type attack bonus, and Ice Punch is going to be phenomenal at type coverage, because if your opponent is using a counter like a flying type, then Ice Punch is something that they definitely have to consider. Overall, the really nice thing about Medicham is that it is essentially future-proof. It's always going to be a viable Pokemon for the Great League, and the move pool is definitely in support of that. You don't have to wait for Medicham to get a better move in order for it to be useful. It's pretty much going to be good right now, and it will continue to be good in the future. The other really nice thing about Medicham is that it is incredibly versatile. You could pretty much slot it into any team makeup, and it's going to be a core member of your team. It has a lot of offensive power and a lot of bulk, so you really can't go wrong using this Pokemon within the Go Battle League. Alright, so one of the big reasons why Medicham is currently rank 1 in the Go Battle League's Great League meta is because of the nerf to Sky Attack. This was the one thing that was preventing Medicham from being number 1. Considering that it is specifically weak against flying type attacks, that means all those flying types like Pidgeot, Noctowl, and Altaria were big menaces to Medicham, and now that those Pokemon got nerfed, Medicham has risen up in the ranks. One of the big qualities about Medicham is that it is strong against a majority of Pokemon that a lot of players use. For example, Galarian Stunfisk, Registeel, all these Pokemon are afraid of Medicham. And then on top of that, Medicham has a very diverse move pool, so you're going to get a lot of type coverage with this one Pokemon. Let's say you run with Psychic and Ice Beam. Well, you're going to be able to deal with grass types and poison types really easily, so Pokemon like Toxicroak are going to struggle quite a lot. And then of course, you're going to have a lot of Pokemon that just will not be able to deal with Medicham efficiently. You could even go with Power Up Punch to bait out shields really easily, and then you could have Psychic as the other move, and that move is going to devastate a majority of opponents. However, in my opinion, Psychic and Ice Beam are probably the two best charge attacks on Medicham, and the reason for that is of course because you can still bait out shields with Ice Beam, and then Psychic is an absolutely monstrous move. Medicham is all about dealing a lot of damage, and that is something that it is extremely good at, but at the same time it is also incredibly bulky, so you're going to survive a lot of Pokemon. If there's one specific Pokemon that you should focus on during the Psychic Spectacular event, it is by far Medicham, so make sure you go out and collect as many candies for this Pokemon. Regardless of IVs, you're going to need to use a lot of XL candy in order to get it battle ready. Medicham has always been a staple Pokemon for all of my Great League teams, and I was fortunate enough to find a rank 1 IVs. I think the hardest part was of course grinding for those XL candies, but I have to tell you, it was definitely worth it. No matter what the meta entails, you could go really far with Medicham. It really is that strong of a Pokemon. But yeah, in any case, that's going to be it for this video. Now, I would love to know your thoughts regarding this one Pokemon. Are you currently using it in PvP? What team are you building around it? Let me know your thoughts and strategies regarding Medicham down below, and let's have a great discussion. And thank you so much for making it to this point in the video. If you ended up enjoying it and found it to be informative, make sure you hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if it's your first time here. And don't forget that little bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And I want to give a quick shout out to all of my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support my channel in any way, big or small, then make sure you check out the links in the description below. For all my patrons, they get a permanent spot on my in-game friends list. So if you want to interact with me in some way within Pokemon Go, like with remote raids or the friendship system, then make sure you go and check out my Patreon. Also, if you want to support my channel non-monetarily, you could always do so by following me on social media. My handle is @Jinsula, and I'm on the following platforms. Alright, and that's going to be it. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I'll catch you all later.